Hey everyone, this is the Coffee with a Geek show. It's December 2017 and we've survived our first major snowstorm here in Western New York, which is good because I have a fellow Western New Yorker with me today, which is Mike Drezek from Lakeshore Schools. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I brought my official office Dunder Mifflin coffee cup. So, a gift from my daughter from Christmas last year. So cheers to that. And you brought some coffee with you too?
I did. So I actually, normally in the morning, my routine is to use my Chemex, pour over. I grind the beans from premium coffee roasters, go with a dark Guatemalan, measure it out. It's like a process, but so I'm definitely become a coffee geek. And but when that runs out, I usually hit the Tim Hortons nearby. And I was doing a little Christmas shopping, and I splurged on myself a little bit early. I went with the Star Wars Porg mug.
Nice.
I haven't seen the new movie, and I'm not quite sure what this guy does or I'm hoping he's a good guy. I know he rolls around with Chewie, so he's got to be good, but we're going with this one for right now.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, are you going to go see the movie over the holidays?
That's the plan, yeah.
Mine too, so it's just a matter of when.
I've been trying to avoid the spoilers online, just making sure anytime anything I see Star Wars Last Jedi, I just swipe it away.
I know, it's pretty much impossible though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in tech circles. So, Mike, a little bit of your background. You've been a tech integrator at Lakeshore Central Schools in Western New York. You have been doing that job for 4 years, but you're a 14-year teacher, and I believe math is your subject area of specialty. And you have quite a few certifications. You've got your Google Certified Educator Levels 1 and 2, Microsoft Innovative Educator, you're even Apple Educator Swift Playgrounds Designation, which is relatively new, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they put that out there last year, so it's a neat little program.
And also, you've been an ambassador for quite a few edtech products from Seesaw, Bloxels, CoSpaces, Buncee, Flipgrid, and CueThink. I do have my Flipgrid label there. Nice. Not to give them more of a shout out than any of the others, but I have to say, Mike, if you've been one of the people that's really always looking for new things, and in our Tech Integrators forum, you've always kind of pushed the envelope and really always kind of looking for new ideas and products. So I thank you for that. You've been one of the most innovative folks I've been following. So so I guess, first of all, before we dig into some of the wheel of geekdom questions, which I think will pull out a lot of different ideas, but can you just maybe introduce yourself and your background in education, where you got your education, what your focus has been?
I mean, I'll go back to high school, not to give too long of a story, but I went to St. Joseph's Collegiate in Buffalo, and I played some hockey there, and that was a great school. And I can still remember taking a picture of the clock when I was leaving. It was math class, and I took a picture of the clock, and I actually have it on a collage that I did when I first got my teaching job, because that clock is very symbolic, and it was like the last math class I was ever going to have to take. And off to college I went at Geneseo, and I was a biology major, and I needed to take math classes. I don't think I planned this out too well, and then next thing you know, I started to fall in love with the math courses. I picked up did a lot of stuff with computer science, and next thing you know, I changed my major to math. And then I pick up the education, and it's almost like maybe taking that, I jinxed myself by taking a picture of that clock in my last math class ever, because I became a math teacher. And I did that for 10 years. I did then, and once I started that job, I got my master's in edtech from Buff State, and kind of was a nice fit to step into this tech integration role and put that to use. So I love the math classroom. Did a lot of stuff with the Flip class when that came out. And I know you talked about our forums and the stuff that, the Winnie Rick and the BOCES in our region puts out has been transformational for me to get new ideas and to connect. And it's kind of pushed me forward in this area. So I did some stuff with Flip Classroom and had a lot of success with that early on. And then just kind of was a nice transition into this role where now I get to work with other teachers and support them and kind of be their thought partner. And yeah, it's been fun.
A couple of just quick things out of the box. First of all, on Twitter, you are M_Drez.
Yeah.
And for those tech innovative folks out there, please make sure you follow Mike. He shares out a lot, but you also, I think, have a lot of good followers and a lot of good ideas. And so who your followers are, you should follow.
Yeah.
And also your website is just michaeldrezek.com.
Yeah, as a blog, I always read a lot about blogging and the power of blogging, and I never had anything. I just used Twitter as a micro-blogging platform. But yeah, last year, I think it was over the Christmas break last year, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start a blog, start a site, and I just started michaeldrezek.com. There's not a lot of Michael Drezeks out there, so it was available. It's collected a little dust. I kind of got off to a good start, then it kind of got quiet, and been active on it a little bit lately and hope to get that going a little more moving forward.
Yeah, I think blogging, just finding the time for blogging is the biggest challenge for me. And I have like 3 different blogs that I keep saying I want to dig into, want some personal, some professional, and finding the time is tough.
I know. And then I read other people's blogs, and then they have such great ideas. And then I sometimes will talk myself out of posting something. But that feeling when you actually do put something out there, it feels nice to kind of share. So I know that, I definitely see the value in publishing as opposed to just consuming.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've recommended, when I've done the kind of tech savvy educator course, is really to have teachers start with something that's personal to them, even if it's sharing like anecdotes to their kids or their students, something that may be a little more on the personal side, because that's going to be more unique, and no one's going to have invented you. So
that's
talking from that standpoint, I think it's a good way to go. But
definitely.
So
I remember I was at George Kuros with his innovators mindset that he was out in Dunkirk, and he had talked about how he was using something he saw on YouTube and was inspired to do for his own child, how he writes one of his kid an email every day to an account that he will then gift to that kid at some point. So one of his kid is a toddler now, probably doesn't even realize that his father's writing him all of these emails, and what a neat way to that personal level of writing,
Yeah, it is. That's a powerful way to do it. And again, I think your kids will thank you for it someday down the line. So here's the new format that I've tried is I call it the Wheel of Geekdom, which is really kind of 10 to 12 different questions that I have, and we'll probably go through, I'm thinking maybe 5 or so questions, depending on your answers. It doesn't have to be short answer. The old form was quick, short answers, but I think it's kind of nice to have a little time and maybe peel away the onion a little bit on some of these questions. Some, again, maybe quick. So we're going to just give these a try. Again, this is the Wheel Decide app that I found on iOS. So here goes. And your first question, the wheel goes something like this. And it is what's your favorite tablet?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna just have to go iPad, only because it's what we use here in school, and it's what we use with our students. I mean, a lot of creation can come off of it. I know a lot of my favorite apps run off of the iPad. I just recently switched over from a MacBook Pro to the Microsoft Surface. So I don't know if the Surface counts as a tablet, but I'm certainly exploring that. The Microsoft Surface, and my answer might look different a year from now, but I'm still going to have to go with the iPad, just because that's where my comfort is, and that's my my go-to creation tool with our students here, because that's what we have for them. So,
that's interesting you said that, and it seems so obvious, but maybe it was so obvious is maybe those technologies are coming together, blending in, and maybe we won't have an iPad per se or a Chromebook per se with touchscreen technology. Maybe it's all just going to blend together, and they're really going to all be tablets / computers. So
I think so. I definitely see things trending in that direction.
Well, and what is it that Google is doing? Is it the Pixel Book?
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, the price point is certainly much higher than the Chromebook, so I'm thinking it's a more full-featured computer. Do you know?
Yeah, no, I did see that. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but I did see the price point on it as well. So it's kind of like, okay, the Chromebook looks a little nicer right now, but I do have the Google Pixel phone, and I love it. And I like what Google's doing with a lot of their products. So I have to think that, it's worth a look.
All right, so here comes question number 2. And,
love the noise it makes.
Yeah. So who or what inspires you?
Inspires me. Um, I'd have to say, I mean, this is the answer that probably most people would go with, but I mean, I go to my parents. They have always supported me in as a kid growing up and supported in what I wanted to do. They've never really tried to like force me into one path in my life. They're still willing to, I talk edtech, talk school with them, talk life, whatever it is. But that's where I catch a huge inspiration. My father owns a small business, and I see the work ethic that he puts into keeping that thing afloat. Started it when I was 1, and he had 11 customers in his basement making eyeglasses, and built it up pretty big. And now he's the last one left in Western New York for a wholesale optical. And we talk about technology and the innovation kind of changing the landscape of fields, and he's kind of found a way to stay relevant, I guess, in the industry. So I catch a lot of inspiration from him, and also from my mother. She was in education her whole life. She was a teacher, a specialist for the visually impaired. So she traveled around to, at some point 9 different schools in a school district supporting students with visual impairments. And so that her push towards, her ideas towards education and the power of education, definitely get a lot of inspiration from them. So outside of family, I just really get a lot of my inspiration from just seeing what other people are doing. I don't know if that's, just the ideas that I get from other people kind of keep pushing me forward. It just,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think in both of those cases, the support system is so key, I think. And if you can have a good support system from family, that really gives you a good leg up, I guess. And again, I totally agree with kind of the support system too. And I would say Twitter, although I don't want to jinx one of our questions here. So I'll hold off on commenting more on that. So let's go for another question here. This is our third one. Okay. And this is, what is the tech trend to watch for?
Man, I don't know if I can pick one, but I may go with 2. I really like where VR is headed. I know right now it's big as a consumption tool. Whether it's Google Expeditions or Nearpod, and I've seen a lot. I've tried the Oculus Rift at NiceGate conference, and it was the first time I ever really got fully immersed in the VR, and I think that was pretty powerful. So I see what some of the professional sports teams are doing with. I saw the University of Michigan and their football program and how they were using it to train athletes and prepare. I see that that's definitely something to keep an eye out for, and something that I've been trying to use a little bit here in terms of a creation tool, using some VR creation. And one of the comments that caught my ear at one of the conferences was, our schools really paying attention to AI and artificial intelligence, and are we are we having that conversation or thinking about it at all? And I'll admit I haven't really given it too much thought, but with the artificial intelligence boosts and the way, I just look at like the Google Home and some of those other tools out there that are just so adaptive and intuitive. How does that impact education in a way? And I don't know if it'll become a trend, but it's probably something to definitely keep an eye out for.
Yeah, we talked about price point, and it seems like the VR things are really starting to come down in price to, the more, general user.
Yeah, that's huge. I know. I still, it's like what the TV, when the flat screen TVs first came out, how expensive those are, and now you can pick one up for a couple $100. So hoping the same thing happens with VR over time, and it'll become more affordable for the classrooms. And schools do a great job of making it work too with the Google Cardboards. I see people just making their own Google Cardboard headsets in technology class.
All right. So along those lines, so the next question is, if you could design your own school, what would it look like?
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I've seen some pretty, I don't know if you're talking physical aesthetics that are not, or I think the internal, or what happens inside the school wall is probably most important, but I really I like what I see with a lot of the flexible seating. I like the idea of the open classroom. I read the book Teach Like Finland this summer, did a little book study on it, and I was very intrigued by the way that they were getting in touch with the outdoors, and they were really doing a lot of outdoor learning. So, I mean, if I were going to design a school, I could start from scratch. I feel like bringing in a lot of the natural light would be interesting. And as far as the technology goes, I definitely, I think of the old computer lab, some of our rooms, even in our district, where the computers are just kind of bound to a wall. In our use of technology, I would love to see things just open in the collaborative spaces. I would love to be able to have some boards, the wireless, the flat panel monitors where students can easily just project their work to, to kickstart conversations and to be a little more collaborative, and to hear, that bringing that student voice piece. I don't know. What would it look? It's have to really be fun to design. Now you say that, I haven't really given it much thought. That's a good question. But
it's interesting. If you forgive me for interrupting, but you mentioned Finland, and Finland's certainly a school that or a school system that I've read a lot about, and it seems like they're getting really good results. Do you know what their technology situation is like in Finland?
They definitely have access to a decent amount of technology, because in the book that I read, they had talked about the different applications and different projects that they did. So I think the technology is pretty solid. But really what caught my ear in that book that I think is different from here is how much freedom they give those students at such a young age. I mean, they basically made it seem like students there at 5-6 years old will just walk to school. They'll go out, they'll play, like almost like, they don't have that someone looking over their shoulder 24/7 really to, where here I think we're on top of everything that our kids do connected. I know we have like the Remind app and all of these great technologies you can know where your kid is at every moment of the day. And it almost seemed like in Finland that these kids were just so self-directed at such a young age that it almost allowed for them to push the boundaries a little bit elsewhere.
Neat. All right, so let's go with, I think this is our fourth one here. All right, and this is one of my favorites. Are you a gamer, and what's your game?
I was a gamer. I don't know if I could say that.
And then you had a family, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, game as a kid, it was always, for me, it was about the sports games. I mean, I did the Mario Brothers and that. I probably had every system, up till when Nintendo first came out was probably my first system, and then I had the Sega Genesis and the PlayStation and what else? Then the Xbox, and then the Xbox 360, and sadly that's where I stopped. I know it's gone past that. I have a Nintendo Wii. I always did the sports games. I was a big hockey fan and a football fan, so I'd play the NHL and the Maddens. But now I guess if the game that I'm into, I'm into Minecraft. So I'm not a huge Minecrafter where I can go in and build this elaborate world, but I just catch a little inspiration from the students when I watch them in there. In that environment, I can get in there and create. It gives me ideas for lessons. So if I'm going to jump into anything right now, it's going to just be Minecraft or Minecraft EDU, and I'll explore that way.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really caught fire, I think, Minecraft.
Yeah, it was just into the Oregon Trail world that they had that the Microsoft put out. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. All right, let's go with at least one more here. So what's your favorite app these days?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough question. That's the Tech Integrator. What my favorite app is. There's so many good ones. I mean, lately I've really been digging Buncee. That's one that I just love it as a creation tool. I'm not artistically talented in any way, but I can get into Buncee, and their library of graphics and media is just, it seems like it's never ending. I like that I can just put a QR code right into my work canvas. I like that I have a video player pop out at me at any time, and I can just self-record video right into the platform. I can embed YouTube. I can attach audio to any item that I put on the Buncee slide. I can also like make I think we talk about book creator. I can essentially turn any Buncee into a digital book creation. And there's just really so many neat ways to use that tool, and I can see it used in just about any subject area. That's kind of been my go-to. I like that it works on the iPad as well as on a Chromebook super easily. Really, I mean, our younger learners can pick it up, and the older kids have fun with it. So right now, that's probably my go-to favorite. But I mean, that I have in my toolbox, I have a lot of apps that I like to go to. But I like what Buncee is doing. I like the Buncee boards they've created, which is kind of like their version of Padlet. So you can have a board collection of Buncees. We have a 5th grade teacher here that's doing an Explorer project, and is going to have a board for all of the explorers across all 3 of her sections, so the kids from each group can kind of look in and learn from each other. So I like that, and I like the the social sharing and the badging that they have integrated into it. Our students love earning their Buncee badges, so it encourages them to create. So they'll create for school academically, but then they'll just create for fun, which is what I like about it. And I think it's really neat what they've done there with their badging.
So how would you, in a nutshell, describe what Buncee is? Is it like a learning management system? Is it more of a portfolio? How would you?
I mean, it's a creation canvas. And I think, I don't want to say Google Slides, because I think, it might look like Google Slides in terms of your slide deck in your Buncee. You could call it a Buncee slide. But it could essentially be like a learning management system in a way that I can create classes within Buncee. I can sync it with Google Classroom. I can also embed questions into my Buncees, like multiple choice and free response questions, and also push out assignments. So it really is like the jack of all trades. It really does a lot. They have a hashtag right now that is #ICreate, and their pledge is to keep creativity and imagination alive in the classroom. So I just love that vision of theirs to, just let kids wonder, get curious, imagine, explore, and create. I mean, we always, in EdTech, we talk about creation and having the students create, and the power in that, and making the learning stick. So I find when our students can get in there and create something that's their own, I mean, the ownership is increased, and it's just it's powerful. It's addicting. I mean, you want to just get in there and do more. I love it.
Awesome. Well, let's just take one quick one here, and we'll wind things down. And that is, what was your first storage device?
Oh,
floppy drive.
I'm familiar with the floppy, but I don't want. I'm sure that it was the floppy back home. That's what I used. And the first one where I really was doing a lot of the work was probably the 3.5 inch floppy. I still have a box of them probably in my cabinet here from college. Just plugging around.
They're useless, right? Because there's nothing that you can put them in.
I think if I got a wobbly table or something, I can kind of level it off. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's one of the precursors, and look where we've come now. You don't even need anything. It's all in the cloud.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, keep up the great work. You're an inspirational person, and I'm glad to be local, to be able to connect with you locally, because you're doing great stuff. And I definitely follow you on Twitter, and we hope you have a great holiday, and we'll catch you around the block.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is great. It's fun. Enjoy your coffee, and I'll catch you around soon. Have a great holiday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Take it easy.